Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, wherever you are. This is Asia Creative and Innovation Channel, or ACIC in short, taking you to Presentation Lounge in Knowledge Salon at Knowledge Capital in Japan. Obviously, today's host is Knowledge Capital. I'm the Master of Ceremony today, and the moderator will be introducing. My name is Keisuke Inami at Knowledge Capital. So ACIC is the joint national institutions. All of them are the partners of Knowledge Capital. So this joint initiative, every other week, deliver the various topics like arts, design, science, technology, and culture. Taking in turn, the different institutions host the live streaming like this. So for today's program, we have distinguished guests from our community. But first of all, I would like to introduce ourselves, Knowledge Capital, a little bit more in detail. I have a short clip to share with you, so please watch and enjoy.
Osaka, one of Japan's most powerful economic zones and a gateway to Asia. Next to Osaka Station is Grand Front Osaka and its core facility, Knowledge Capital. A place for knowledge creation and interaction, connecting people, things, and information to create new value. Facilities, functions, and services to spark innovation at an ideal location. Knowledge Salon is a forum for interaction and inspiration. Dubbed the world's best laboratory for everyone by everyone, the lab exhibits prototypes and future concepts from businesses, research institutes, and universities. The Future Life Showroom features ideas for tomorrow's lifestyles from businesses and universities. And Knowledge Capital has plentiful office space. Offices can be scaled up or down as needed for collaboration or solo work. Knowledge Capital also has the multi-purpose Knowledge Theater, the Event Lab, ideal for exhibitions and cultural events, conference rooms for seminars and exhibitions, and a convention center that holds up to 3,000 people. Every day, these facilities buzz with activity. Knowledge Capital is staffed by a group of specialists called communicators. Their important role is to help Knowledge Capital achieve its mission through connecting people, things, and information. Communicators use their unique skills to promote interaction among salon members at Knowledge Salon, deepening visitors' experiences and providing candid feedback to universities and corporations. Communicators also serve as catalysts to spark the reactions needed to make collaborations grow. Knowledge Capital brings people together. Here, people exchange knowledge and ideas, creating new value in the form of products, services, and even culture and human resources. With Omoshiroi as the core value, Knowledge Capital is fully equipped to foster knowledge innovation. A new style of urban development powered by knowledge creation and interaction for the creation of new value. This is Knowledge Capital.
So, as shown in the video, Knowledge Capital is situated in the heart of Osaka in the premises or complex called Grand Front Osaka, ranging 88,200 square meters of floor surface. So we have been equipped with various facilities such as interactive salons or the showcase called the lab. So Knowledge Capital opened in 2013 as a field for creating new values. So corporations, universities, and research institutes are based in Knowledge Capital, participate in this innovation platform. Our concept is the combination and fusion of human creativity with technology, resulting in new value creation. New value in this context represent new or improved products or services or intellectual property or even culture or communities that can be represented in this context. So we think it's highly important to gather the various people in the society at Knowledge Capital, not only researchers, scientists, creators, business people, and artists. We think we categorize them like professionals, but also the non-professionals or the general public, like families, children, students, or senior citizens. So we are an open platform for everybody in the society to work together and to collaborate and start doing together, resulting in the creation of new value. So as I said, and also shown in the video, the various facilities in Knowledge Capital are connected organically, and we work together with various partners. So first of all, we have a Knowledge Salon, obviously today's venue for the program, for the forum for gathering and interaction between different interdisciplinary industries. And also we have office renting spaces for deepening their minds to proceed the projects. Also, we have an open exhibition area like the lab or future life showrooms owned by the companies and universities. We have large-scale convention halls or Knowledge Plaza, a big atrium space for further interaction with the larger audience for general public. So, without any further ado, I would like to introduce today's program. So, we have, as shown in the title, we have Singularity Salon at ACIC. So the technological singularity is a point in time at which technological development starts to become uncontrollable and irreversible. When such a powerful superintelligence is born, what unforeseeable changes will the human civilization face? That's the big question. And today, we have distinguished guests from Singularity Salon, which is a community started in Japan and based here in Knowledge Capital. They used to host conference events here in this venue. So we are in the middle of the pandemic. So in the meantime, we have the online conferences, but I think once in 2 years' time, we came back to this venue in Knowledge Salon. So I'd like to introduce today's moderator, Mr. Atsuhiko Yasuda, the CEO of Zoomus and the lab researcher at Knowledge Capital. Yasuda-san, thank you very much for joining today as a moderator. I'm really excited to have the session. So very quickly, I would like to go through the profile of Yasuda-san, Mr. Yasuda. So during graduate school, he worked on cosmological hydrodynamics under Professor Matsuda, one of the guests here today. After being involved in the development of jet engines as an aerospace engineer, he founded Zooms, his own company. And he's now working on the production of science movies, the development of VR applications, etc. Of course, one of the key persons here at Knowledge Capital to research on, or to have a research and survey on technological development. So, Mr. Yasuda, are you okay?
Yes,
How are you doing? Are you ready for the program?
Yep. Thank you for your very kind introduction for me tonight in Dami-san.
Right. So welcome back to Knowledge Salon. As I said, this is just once in 2 years or things like that due to the pandemic. Yeah.
Right.
So it's really nice to have people on board here in this venue. So I'm really excited to have the program. So Mr. Yasuda, the floor is yours.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. I am Atsuhiko Yasuda of Zooms, a researcher at Knowledge Capital. So today I would like to introduce to you our activities here at Knowledge Capital, as Inami-san explained, the Singularity Salon. So first, I'd like to start with this question. So what is the singularity? It is also known as the technological singularity. There are several definitions, but we see singularity as a major change in science and technology and human society when the ability of artificial intelligence exceeds the ability of our human intellectual ability. All right? So where will human society go when the singularity arrives? It will be a huge problem in near future for everyone. So we now need to think about that issue. Therefore, we started the Singularity Salon, to discuss the singularity issue from various aspects here at Knowledge Capital in order to change or deepen the understanding of the singularity and change the way the experts and the general public thinks about that issue. And one of our main activities is a lecture event inviting researchers and engineers who are active in the forefront of artificial intelligence development and brain science research. The lecture event was temporarily suspended, as Inami-san said, due to influence of COVID-19. But since September 2020, it resumed as an online event in Spring X Super School hosted by Knowledge Capital. So today, we'd like to bring you a special version of the Singularity Salon at ACIC. And here are the three speakers today. Professor Takuya Matsuda and Professor Masahiko Tsukamoto and Mr. Hideaki Kobayashi, known as a guy in school girl's uniform, a seirafuku oji-san in Japanese. Right. They are all the core members of the Singularity Salon. And in the first half, each of the three speakers will give a short presentation. And after that, in the second half, we plan to have three speakers and Mr. Inami-san participate in the discussion on the theme of singularity. Okay, let's start with the first presentation. The first speaker is Professor Takuya Matsuda, the representative of Singularity Salon. Professor Takuya Matsuda was originally one of leading researchers in the field of astrophysics, and he has been studying astrophysics in Kyoto University and Kobe University. After his retirement, he began researching artificial intelligence and now conducting his research on AI in his secret research institute in Kyoto. And Professor Matsuda is also working on enlightenment activities for the approaching AI society and singularity. Okay, then please listen to Professor Matsuda's opinion.
Okay. Thank you very much, Yasuda-san. Today, I am going to talk about artificial general intelligence and superintelligence. My name is Takuya Matsuda, Professor Emeritus of Kobe University. Artificial intelligence can be classified into two categories: namely narrow AI and artificial general intelligence. Narrow AI is for a specific purpose, and all current AIs are narrow AI. Artificial general intelligence is supposed to perform any intellectual task, but it has not yet materialized. Superintelligence is an AGI, artificial general intelligence, with a huge intellectual capacity. For example, 10 to the power of 10th H, where 1 H means average human intellectual ability. The superintelligence may be equipped with various kinds of sensors, and it may know anything which can be known. It can perform anything that is physically possible and economically viable. The superintelligence can solve lots of problems, complex problems. For example, designing new machines and solving scientific problems. The superintelligence has huge economical, political, military, and scientific advantages. If superintelligence will be developed by a nation which will have hegemony over the world, if superintelligence will be developed by a company which will have huge commercial profit, which country will develop superintelligence? The United States or China? That is a problem. Or which company will develop superintelligence? Google, OpenAI, DeepMind, or any other? The development of superintelligence is inevitable considering its possible huge advantage. Artificial general intelligence, whose intellectual capacity is 1H, will be developed by 2029, according to American futurist Ray Kurzweil. I define this epoch as pre-singularity. The artificial general intelligence can improve its own algorithm, and a better AGI will emerge. The capacity of AGI will reach 10 to the power of 10th H by 2045, according to Ray Kurzweil. This epoch is singularity. There are two approaches to develop AGI, namely the biological approach and the engineering approach. The biological approach is to emulate a human brain. The engineering approach is to create intelligence which does not necessarily emulate a human brain. For example, let's consider that we want to build a machine. I repeat again. There are two approaches to develop AGI, the biological approach and the engineering approach. The biological approach is to emulate a human brain. The engineering approach is to create intelligence which does not necessarily emulate a human brain. For example, let's consider that we want to build a machine which can fly. The biological approach is to create a machine which emulates a bird. In other words, a flapping machine. The engineering approach is to build an airplane with a fixed wing. The airplane cannot lay an egg or increase offspring, but it can fly faster and higher than bird. So we want to make not bird, but airplane. There are two kinds of intelligence, animal intelligence and human intelligence. The biological approach is to create animal intelligence, while the engineering approach is to create human intelligence. The purpose of animal intelligence is to act properly to preserve individuals and species. The purpose of the brain is to act optimally by inferring the environment or outside world through sensory organs, such as eyes or ears. How to infer the environment state? The Bayesian brain theory, in which the brain infers the environment using the Bayes theorem. The free energy principle, FEP, is a promising brain theory proposed by Carl Friston, which is an extension of Helmholtz inference theory of the 19th century. The top right person is Professor Carl Friston in London. And bottom right is the Helmholtz, of German scientist of 19th century. The free energy principle is an approximation of Bayesian calculation. It has been widely developed and applied to many areas. Now I move on to human intelligence. There are multiple human intelligence defined by Howard Gardner: logical mathematical intelligence, linguistic intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, musical intelligence, visual spatial intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, naturalistic intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence. Among them, the top two are most important: logical mathematical intelligence and linguistic intelligence. As to linguistic intelligence, recently, natural language processing (NLP) AI is developed. In 2017, the transformer, which is NLP AI, was announced by Google. It achieves state-of-the-art performance in the translation task between English and French or German. But the capability of the transformer is more than that. It is extended in BART by Google and GPT by OpenAI. GPT-2, which is Generative Pre-trained Transformer 2, was announced by OpenAI in 2019. GPT-2 translates text, answers questions, summarizes passages, and generates text output. The generated text is sometimes indistinguishable from that of humans. The largest model of GPT-2 was not made open because of its potential danger of making fake news easily, according to OpenAI. GPT-3 was announced in 2020. GPT-3's full version has a capacity of 175 billion parameters compared with 1.5 billion of GPT-2. The number of synapses in the human brain is estimated to be on the order of 10 to the 14th. If the number of parameters of GPT corresponds to that of the number of synapses of the human brain, then GPT-3's intellectual capacity is 1,000th of that of humans. If this is the case, GPT-X, X means 4 or 5, scaled up by 1,000-fold may achieve AGI. DALL-E was announced in 2021, and they can draw figures, images from given captions. Recently, DALL-E 2 was announced, and it can produce incredibly realistic and imaginative figures. The right-hand pictures are created by DALL-E 2. So these AIs are considered to have common sense, creativity, and imagination. Therefore, these GPT-2 X and extension thought to be artificial general intelligence. So summary, the development of AGI is a path to superintelligence. If a nation creates the superintelligence, it may dominate the world. If a company creates a superintelligence, it will have a huge profit. There are two approaches to AGI, the biological approach and the engineering approach. The biological approach is to emulate a human brain. A promising theory of the human brain is the free energy principle proposed by Carl Friston. Natural language processing AI such as GPT-3 and its variant is a potential candidate for AGI. That is my conclusion. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Professor Matsuda, for a very interesting presentation. I think it was a good summary of the leading-edge AI technologies, and also it was a good foresight how those technologies is changing our society in near future. Okay, so there are several keywords like Bayesian network, or DALI, or GPT, or free energy principle. All right, those are very difficult keywords, but if you are interested in those keywords, please try searching on internet, right? Okay, let's move on to the second speaker. The second speaker is Professor Masahiko Tsukamoto of Kobe University. Professor Tsukamoto has been studying human interface technology for many years. As you can see from this picture, he himself wears a wearable device every day, so he's called a wearable evangelist. Yeah, can you see that? This is Professor Tsukamoto. Professor Tsukamoto's dream is to become a cyborg. He sees the singularity as a future where humans and computers are closely united. So now, Professor Tsukamoto, please give a presentation.
Thank you, Yasuda-san. I think many people are interested in this. Oh, please go back to yeah. This is a kind of a smart glass, and I can see here the watches, and I can see the time now. And also, I'm wearing a smartwatch, and here is another smartwatch, and I'm using this ring. So I have been using several kinds of wearable computers for more than 20 years. So the title of my presentation today is From Wearables to Cyborgs. I'm Masahiko Tsukamoto from Kobe University. I am researching wearable computing. As part of my research, I usually use smart glasses and smart watches. I would like to talk about what I usually insist on. First, let's talk about the singularity. Singularity, by my definition, is a sudden explosive progress of science and technology, which will occur in the future. It is also considered as a singular point of the process curve of science and technology in the mathematical meaning. We often see the definition of when the power of AI far exceeds that of human. But in my view, it is incorrect. That is not the definition, but the cause. As Inami-san and Yasuda-san told, singularity is a point that science and technology developed in a very fast speed. And according to futurist Ray Kurzweil, the singularity will arrive around 2045. I agree with this. Singularity, defined by Professor Matsuda, that is the time when AI exceeds the human intelligence, will come in 2029. I also agree with this. And after that, artificial intelligence will become much smarter, and super intelligence will be born. They will become responsible for science and technology. In a few months after the singularity, all the problems of science and technology will be solved by AI, much smarter than humans. I think the society itself will be slowly changed over the next 10 or 20 years after the singularity. The concern about the singularity is that after singularity, humanity may be dominated by AI and robots. AI may decide that it is better for the universe to eradicate humanity. And we probably won't rebel against it. And we may eradicate ourselves from the bottom of our hearts, thinking that we should be eradicated. Of course, that's not good in my opinion. My solution is that humanity itself will evolve into super intelligence. Then we will be able to discuss technology and society on an equal footing with an AI and robots. And the steps for that is that human become cyborg. Here I would like to introduce a little about my research. My research topics for over 20 years has been wearable computing. Wearables are a new way to use computers in the real world. And the next step to mobile computing, such as smartphones. Smart glasses, smart watches, and biosensors are tools for that purpose. Since 2001, I have been wearing and using head-mount displays every day and all day long. The top photo is one at that time. Then a lot of people gathered around me. In 2004, we launched an NPO, non-profit organization aimed at promoting the wearable industry in order to bring wearables from Japan. There have been some notable movements in smart glasses since around 2011, and smart watches have been launched since around 2015. Therefore, in 2016, we launched the second NPO, which is user group. The middle and bottom pictures are the ones which HMDs, head-mount displays, and other wearable computers are used in our projects. From the beginning, I've said that wearables, especially smart glasses, would be worn by everyone in the town within a year, but I have been incorrect until now. My specific research topics are as follows. First is wearable interface, which include hands-free interface and situation-dependent interface, focusing on how to operate the computer. Second is wearable sensing, which include biological sensing, behavior recognition, health management, and life log are using sensors attached on the human body. The third one is wearable applications, especially for smart glasses, which include work support, daily life support. Moreover, entertainment is considered to be one of the promising application areas in wearable computing. At this moment, smartwatch became popular and smart glasses are starting to rise. What we have been looking ahead of the times for 20 years is finally being realized. So I felt I had to go to the next step. What I'm saying here and there these days is this. I will become cyborg in 2030. I consider the next step for wearable is cyborg. Just as I practice the wearables in their very early stage, I would become cyborgs as early as possible. These two pictures are not cyborg but wearables. But I consider you feel they are looking like cyborg. So there are three topics for cyborg researches I am thinking. I'm thinking not fundamental research for cyborg, but system technologies that make high use of the basic technologies. First one is for modern system, including processes and powers. The second is the organ system, including embedded IC tags and embedded sensors. The third one is brain and nervous system, including brain-machine interface or brain-computer interface and brain simulation. And also memory assistant is a very important application. A lot of research is done in this area, but I think the most of them are basic ones, and I would like to do a system technology for them. Here, I would like to note that these three issues directly correspond to the previous issues I raised for wearable computing. Motor system research is similar to wearable interface because I have been considered that hands-free interface, so it can be beneficial to moving motor system for cyborg. And internal organ system can be based on the same technology to wearable sensing. And brain and nervous system can run same applications to smart glasses, such as alerts, annotations, notifications, directions, work support, translations, and healthcare. And this is the last slide. What I want to say today is that human beings must become cyborgs and have super intelligence. Otherwise, humans cannot be on an equal footing with AI and cannot be the protagonists of singularity. So the two pictures here is YouTube channels I'm doing. The left is wearable channel, and the right is Singularity Salon online. I want you to see the channel for more detail, but unfortunately, we use Japanese in these channels. So I want you to use automatic translation of the functionality of YouTube. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Tsukamoto, for a very inspirational speech. Right. So Professor Tsukamoto's future foresight that human beings become cyborg is very unique, but looking at his research activities and as well as his appearance makes us think it would be a possible future. Right. And please access to the YouTube channels. All right. Okay, now let's move on to the third and the final speakers. Next speaker is Mr. Hideaki Kobayashi, also known as a guy in schoolgirl's uniform, as you see, or Seirafuku Oji-san in Japanese. Mr. Kobayashi is a regular attendee at the Singularity Salon. While he is working as an intelligent engineer in a Japanese printing company, he appears in various places in Japan and abroad in this very unique costume, and has become an icon of Japanese otaku culture. His greatest concern is the mystery of human consciousness. To solve this mystery, he actively talks to various consciousness researchers every day. So, are you ready, Seirafuku Oji-san? So today's presentation also seems to have the theme of consciousness. Okay, everyone, Seirafuku Oji-san is here. It seems you are not ready yet. So now he's looking for the presentation page.
Yeah, Kobayashi-san, I think
Right.
you were
Would you please
holding
wait for a while?
the controller upside down. So
This doesn't
needs
work.
any help?
Okay.
Oops. Oh,
No, I think
Well,
let me
that way.
just help you. Yeah, thank you. Okay,
this
so
is one.
press here for the next slide.
this is forward button. Oh, sorry. Thank you for Yasuda-san for introducing me. Yes, my topic is about consciousness. Can AI be conscious? I'm Hideaki Kobayashi, just an ordinary hentai, that means pervert, known as a guy in schoolgirl's uniform. Nya. Cute, huh? By the way, these two photos were taken in Thailand. I love that country. It's paradise for cross-dressers. Anyway, let's move on. Technological singularity is largely about artificial intelligence, but beside intelligence, there's another issue we should consider when we envision future technology. It's consciousness. Can AI be conscious? Consciousness is the subject I've been hooked on for years. It's so enigmatic. So let me talk a little bit about a pervert's personal view on consciousness. Ray Kurzweil, who proposed the idea of singularity in his book, This Singularity is Near, scrutinizes many kinds of technologies and discusses their future prospect. Among them, he gives some thought to artificial consciousness as well. Here's Kurzweil's scenario. The human brain will be reverse engineered by the 2020s. The brain will be scanned from inside by billions of nanobots the size of human blood cells, 7 to 8 microns, traveling through the bloodstream. And then how the brain works will be modeled and simulated. And then the human brain will be uploaded to a computational substrate. As a result, all types of human intelligence, including emotion, desire, creativity, and so on, will be realized on a non-biological substrate. Machine will behave as if it were conscious. But with the limitation of the first-person property of consciousness, we have actually no means of testing whether or not a machine is conscious. But people will be convinced that the machines are conscious. That's what Ray Kurzweil view on machine consciousness. First of all, let me clarify that intelligence and consciousness are separate notions. Intelligence and consciousness are separate notions because we can think of all four combinations of have and don't have as shown in the table. For example, a human being seems to have both intelligence and consciousness. On the other hand, an infant doesn't show much intelligence but seems to be conscious, and so on. But that doesn't mean that they're unrelated. Intelligence and consciousness are unrelated at all. We can hypothesize that an AI with its intelligence level higher than a certain extent will be inevitably conscious. Well, I kind of being sarcastic about that. I call that glucose bonus theory. There's a product, the caramel, a box of caramel. All of them are attached. Each of them is attached with a small plastic toy, without exception. So, according to the theory, consciousness is something like glucose bonus, like attached to every single intelligence with a certain level. So I don't really support that. A basic question on artificial consciousness. When will the artificial consciousness realize? In other words, when will AI be conscious? Here are some possible answers. A, some type of AI is like deep neural network, is already conscious, if slightly. At the same time as the singularity of intelligence, this is B, and C, almost at the same time as the singularity of intelligence, though a little later. D, a few tens of years after the singularity of intelligence. E, 300 years from now. F, not realized forever. I'm personally in favor of E. Artificial consciousness won't be realized for another 300 years. Here's a fundamental question on consciousness. If a neuron in the brain fires, it's a physical phenomenon. If you were thinking, what shall I eat for lunch? It's a phenomenological phenomenon. Here's one problem. Find out the correlations between them by simultaneously observing them. According to philosopher David Chalmers, it's categorized into an easy problem of consciousness. It's not easy, but compared to hard problem, it's relatively easy. Here's another problem. Explain the mechanism of how the former generates the latter. That's the hard problem of consciousness. You may also think, can artificial materials be conscious? It's a secondary question pertaining to the hard problem. I think the hard problem of consciousness, as the naming indicates, is a very hard problem, but not impossible to solve in principle. Only geniuses can bring progress towards solving the problem. In what academic field can we best make an approach to the problem of consciousness? A, philosophy. Philosophy? Philosophy is good at posing questions and classifying theories, but what about scientifically solving them? Pretty questionable, I think. How about B, physics? At present, physics deals only with what can be objectively observed or measured. Subjective matters like consciousness are excluded from the research subject of physics. I think, however, by the 24th century, consciousness can be dealt with within physics. There are some views on consciousness given by some physicists. One is based on the emergence hypothesis. An atom or a molecule is not conscious. Consciousness emerges from a certain arrangement of a quantity of them. Another one is based on the quantum theory. The cause of consciousness is related to some quantum phenomenon. And how about C, information theory? Consciousness emerges from executing certain information processing. Some types of information quantity measured in the form of P times log P, where P is a probability, are relevant. I think the crossover area of B and C is on the right track, but crossover area, whatever it is, I don't know actually, but kind of analogically, how about the notion of entropy, which is a notion both in thermodynamics and information theory. So something like that. I don't really know. To summarize a pervert's view on consciousness, Kurzweil's prediction that AGI will be created around 2045 may not be far off. Around that time, an AI that behaves as if it were conscious may be realized. But even if so, that AI is merely a philosophical zombie. I won't like it if people are convinced that the hard problem of consciousness has been solved at that point. I gotta warn out loud, don't be deceived. Those AIs are zombie. Anyway, creating an AGI may not be an easy task, but realizing artificial consciousness must be much, much harder beyond comparison. Nevertheless, I believe it is in principle possible to realize true artificial consciousness, not philosophical zombie. It won't take forever, but probably another 300 years for it to be realized. You should not take lightly how hard the problem is. My view doesn't contradict Kurzweil's, by the way. I eagerly want to know the answer, but I, not being genius, but just a mere pervert, am waiting for genius to appear and solve it. And believe it or not, this is not the end of my presentation. There's actually some more I'd like to say. I'd like to emphasize that there are some prominent researchers of consciousness from Japan, and some of them spoke at Singularity Salon. Let me name just 5 of them. Shunichi Amari, honorary researcher at RIKEN, also professor emeritus at Tokyo University. He received the Cultural Medal in 2019. He is well renowned for establishing the mathematical theory of information geometry. Whatever it is, it's about manifold accommodating probability density function. Still whatever it is. He has also studied how brain works from a mathematical point of view. He spoke at Singularity Salon in 2019 under the title Brain and AI, Will the Singularity Happen? Ryota Kanai, president of Araya Incorporated, also project manager of Moonshot Project run by our government. He was once doing research on consciousness at University of Sussex in Anil Seth's laboratory. He could have spent a steady life as a researcher, but he aspired to do something that can give a bigger impact on society. So he quit being a researcher and started a private company named Araya. The company's goal is to create artificial consciousness. He spoke at Singularity Salon in 2017 under the title of Realizing Artificial Consciousness. Masataka Watanabe, associate professor at Tokyo University, also technical advisor at Mind in a Device. He was once doing research on consciousness at Max Planck Institute in Germany, in Nikos Logosthestis laboratory. He started up a private company named Mind in a Device. He declares that in 20 years, that seems really short, the company will launch a business of mind uploading. How about that? He spoke at Singularity Salon in 2018 under the title of Prospects of the Science of Consciousness, brought out by subjective testing of brain-machine connection. Masafumi Oizumi. He spent 2 years working for Araya as a research manager, and then he became associate professor at Tokyo University in 2019. He was once doing research on consciousness at University of Wisconsin in Giulio Tononi's laboratory, so he probably is the most knowledgeable in Japan about integrated information theory proposed by Tononi. He spoke at Singularity Salon in 2018 under the title of How to Create a Theory on Consciousness Based on Integrated Information Theory. He co-authored a paper together with Mr. Amari, and he reinterprets this integrated information theory from the viewpoint of information geometry. Whatever it is, it's too difficult for me to understand. Anyway. Finally, Naotsugu Tsuchiya, professor at Monash University in Australia. He received his PhD at California Institute of Technology under the supervision of Christoph Koch. He spoke at Singularity Salon pretty recently, in April 2nd online, under the title of Where Do Our Consciousness and Qualia Come From? That's it. Thank you for listening. Yeah.
Thank you, Kobayashi-san, for your hard presentation of human consciousness. Right? So I understood the human consciousness is full of mystery, and to solve them, we need to understand a lot of things from mathematics, physics, information science to probably philosophy, right? And I think that's why this issue is so interesting or so fascinating, right? That's all the presentation today, and we are entering the discussion time, right? So from now, I'd like to have Inami-san to join.
Thank you very
our
much
discussion.
for inviting.
All right, thank you very much for helping us today, Inami-san.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure.
Do you have
I
any
really,
impressions so far?
Yeah, I'm not sure how many of the audience of this channel today have heard of the word singularity before. Not sure if somebody who are into the sci-fi or this kind of scientific approaches or researches, maybe they have. Well, actually, I've known about Singularity Salon before, and I've heard of this word itself. But the more I study about this, the less I know about this one. This is quite interesting topic, and today we had a very overall presentation from different aspects. That's really inspiring experience for me too. So thank you again for each one of you to give an insight on this interesting topic. And I really love to hear a little more in detail. Right.
Thank you. So would you please start with
your
question?
I think just quickly go through some of the questions we have here. And the first one is pretty much non-professional one as me. Like, when will the singularity come? I think there are some answers in the presentations, but I'd like to ask again about this issue.
From Professor Matsuda.
Yeah, I think as I told in my presentation, the singularity will come 2045. By the way, this Singularity Salon is planning to have a Singularity Festival in 2045, March 12th.
March 12th.
Yeah.
March 12th.
Currently, I am 79 years old. Therefore, at the time of singularity, I will be 102. And probably I will arrive by that time. Or I will become the cyborg.
Cyborg, yes. As just Tsukamoto Sensei, Professor Tsukamoto mentioned, yeah.
And March 12th is the birthday of your birthday, right?
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yes, is it your birthday?
Yes.
Okay. Right, that's...
let's celebrate
let's wait
Professor
until,
Matsuda's birthday in 2025.
Right, so I think everybody agrees.
I also agree with time 2045. Or it may come earlier. AI is advancing faster than we expected.
True.
Well, I don't dispute with you. So basically the same way. I can't tell exactly when, but probably Ray Kurzweil is on the right track. It may be around 2045.
So it seems that everybody agrees that the point is going to be somewhere around 2045.
So three of us agree on this point. This is why we
You mean that's the only point you agree on?
Salon.
Agree on with. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So the second question from me. I think this is also mentioned in the presentation, but the consciousness, human consciousness, is a very huge issue for everybody. So when will the problem of consciousness be solved? So may I have your opinion from who starts first?
Yeah, I think it will, at the time of the singularity. And
So 2045.
yeah, 2045.
45,
Yeah, the reason that Kobayashi-san said that the intelligence and consciousness are different entity. I agree, but in my opinion, that is very closely correlated. Therefore, at the time of 2045, the intelligence, the superintelligence, the capacity will be 10 to the 10th of the human. Therefore, such high intelligent entity should have consciousness, I think. That's my answer.
So
I also agree with this point. I think it's just after the singularity, because super intelligence has hundreds of trillion times of intelligence. So they will solve the problem, all the problems of science.
Okay.
In
So-
2040.
All right. So you two agree with this point. So
Yeah,
I'd like to
that is singularity, I think.
So I'd like to hear the different opinion, Kobayashi-san.
Well, there seems to be a long room for discussion. and I can't deny Professor Matsuda's opinion because it's one good theory, a hypothesis that intelligence and consciousness are closely related. So probably higher certain level intelligence may automatically produce consciousness. That's one theory that can't be denied so far. But I have a different opinion, just two different theories. And yes, and I've already seen from Professor Tsukamoto's presentation that there's huge difference in views. And yes, I got Professor Tsukamoto's point that if you are able to create superintelligence, then this superintelligence will solve all the difficult problems. So it may take us humans to take humans 300 years to solve this difficult problem. But for AGI, they can think the super hyper way. So probably it can solve it. I understand the point, but this raises some kind of problem. It's called, it's a thought experiment called Mary's room. Mary's room is about, suppose this is the person Mary. She, for some reason, she has never seen color, like red or blue or whatever color. But she learned from books or written materials everything about color. So she knows everything. She has every knowledge about color, but has never experienced seeing color. Then one day she sees the color, like she opens the window and look outside. Then, and the question is, would she be surprised or would she learn something new? So suppose about the superintelligence. At the time when superintelligence is created, this superintelligence is not conscious. Then we ask this superintelligence a question about hard problem consciousness. So this AI is to solve the problem of consciousness without being consciousness, without knowing what it's like to be conscious. So it's exactly the same problem as Mary's room. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but kind of unlikely, because by reading all the books about consciousness and do some, I don't know, calculation or inference, can this problem be solved? So I would be impressed if this superintelligence returned the answer, like create this device to measure something and do this experiment. And depending on the results, you will find out. That I would be impressed.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I understood everything you said, but I think this is a very controversial problem every time. So, but we need to go next.
I think it's
Okay?
really interesting to hear different opinions here, and it's always important to discuss like this.
Yes, we need to continue discussion, right?
Discussion.
At the Singularity
Because
Salon.
the things we don't know, so we don't know the answer till we get there. So for the moment we can only just discuss.
We need
in
300 years to solve this problem. So.
Yeah. All right, so let me give you another question. So, is it possible to upload the mind to a computer? I think there are kind of the films or dramas, taking this kind of topic. But is it really possible? Is the next question.
So, Matsuda sensei?
Yeah, it depends on the time. And in my opinion, or my feeling, it's not possible at the time of singularity because the number of neurons of human brain is 10 to the 11th, and the number of synapses is 10 to the 14th. So to upload one particular person, then one has to know all connections. Then it is too much, probably too much at the time of 2045. Therefore, it takes a little bit longer time, I think. So the answer is no.
Okay. Right. So, how about you, Tsukamoto sensei?
I think the answer is yes. And basically, brain is a physical entry, so the computer can have a mind, and we can upload our mind to the computer. It will be suspicious as first stage, but it will become more and more probable. So the span of the time may be 10 years or 20 years. So that is why I would like to become cyborg.
Okay. So mind uploading is a part of the cyborg?
Yeah, that's right.
That's at least consistent with the previous question. So probably same dispute. But I basically agree with Professor Matsuda. It depends on the times. And so my view is that it is theoretically possible. In principle, it's possible, but it'll take another 300 years. So, I mean, by doing random experiment and, hey, I accidentally uploaded my consciousness to this computer, that doesn't happen. So first, we have to solve the problem. We have to find out the solution of our problem with consciousness. And then applying this solution to technology, then we can create artificial consciousness and then upload my mind to the computer. So that's the order that I predict to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that order is very reasonable. But from the commercial perspective, suspicious upload will become popular soon.
Sorry, Professor Watanabe, for giving different ideas. Professor Watanabe says in 20 years he started doing business uploading your mind.
Business uploading. Right. So, are you okay, Inami-san?
Yeah, which is really because at the final part of this discussion we had kind of commercial perspective, and it's the technology also development is one thing, and applying it for a commercial reason is another. And yeah, it's a kind of interesting development of the discussion and also the prospect of the future at the same time. Thank you.
Okay. So let's move on to the fourth question. So this is another controversial issue, I think.
Yeah.
If in future superhuman is created, will a human being and a superhuman be able to communicate on the equal footing in the future? So, Matsuda Sensei, how do you think?
Well, also it depends on the intellectual capacity of superhuman. If that is the 10 to 10th times of the ordinary human, then my answer is no. Because we can communicate with, say, dog or cats, but we cannot communicate with cockroach. Because the degree of intelligence is so different. Therefore, if superhuman's intelligence is 10 to the 10th of the human, then no.
Okay. So how about Tsukamoto Sensei?
Yeah, I rather think the answer must be yes. I think cockroaches and humans are in different categories. And also, on the contrary, humans and superhuman are in the same category. I mean, the use of language. The one category is to use language, and not, the other is not to use. The use of language is very important to communication. So maybe human and superintelligence will be able to communicate with each other in daily life level stories.
Okay. So it's not a problem for our society.
Yeah, maybe it should be in equal footing.
Okay. So Kobayashi-san?
Well, this depends on what you call communication. Well, it's kind of one-way communication. Suppose there's a person on the top of Mount Fuji and there's another person on the foot of Mount Fuji. The person on the top of Mount Fuji knows what it's like to be on the foot of Mount Fuji. But on the other hand, the person at the foot of Mount Fuji doesn't know what it's like to be on the top of Mount Fuji. So it's kind of one-way communication. So suppose there's a Go champion and amateur Go player, they can still play Go game. So in that way, they can communicate. And the Go champion can restrict his ability to on par with the amateur and still play a good game. In that way, we can communicate. So the communication between artificial superintelligence and us would be like this superintelligence doesn't like this music. It's too childish, it's too shallow, it's too simplistic, but this one thinks that you human being may like this music. How about this? And then we receive this music. Oh, it's a beautiful music. It's very deep. So that way, the communication would be that way, kind of one way.
I think your answer should be no, because the question is on equal footing.
So
your meaning not equal, inequality. So, but my answer is yes. It must be equal. The meaning of equal is maybe difficult. I think it should be having control or communication on both sides. So, of course, it will be difficult to communicate to each other on very difficult issues, but common issues such as daily life stories or something like that will be equal communication stories.
Yeah, that's a very interesting opinion, I think. So this is another issue we need to continue to discuss on the Singularity Salon.
Yeah. So let me give you the final question here. Will animals with augmented brain have the same intelligence as human being? What about this?
Well, recently I changed my opinion. Yes.
Did you?
Yes. Yeah, because I saw today the YouTube of parrot, and parrot and the human are arguing. Then, of course, the parrot's language is not understandable. But if parrot is augmented, the intelligence, then it's possible to communicate, I think. So, yes.
Yes.
I thought Professor Matsuda's answer should be no in yesterday's rehearsal.
Yes.
So today I changed my opinion by watching the parrot.
Yeah, I have prepared the reason for no against Professor Matsuda. Yeah, because human brains also are substance. So there is some of you may know that we can connect two human brains each other. It is known that it will be integrated, and if we divide brain into two components, it will be separated. In this way, it is known that intelligence can be integrated. So if you give the animal a neocortex, I think it works. It is a reason I prepared for today.
Okay.
I think that would be fantastic. Suppose I have a cat, and the cat says to me, "Hey, servant, give me some food." And I would be like, "Certainly." And that would be very good. So I think this idea is very, very, very excellent. And I think it's possible. We have to break the limit of our imagination. The cat must be lower in terms of intelligence. That may be overcome. Probably the cats will be as same level as our intelligence level. That's fantastic. I think I love that.
Yeah, I think also having language is important. So if animals have language, we can communicate with each other more.
So and therefore, that's the reason why the parrot has a language.
Yeah.
So yeah, following this discussion, I think that instantly hits me the kind of question that what else we can augment with artificial intelligence. This is also another topic to discuss. But yeah, thank you for the interesting opinions and insights.
All right, so it's time to close this discussion time. So it's already past 1 hour.
Yes, actually, we continued discussion quite long, actually. But yeah, I really enjoyed this part.
So
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you all the speakers today. And yeah, I'd be happy if the audience could get a little bit clear understanding of the singularity and AI technology. So yeah, we continue these activities at Knowledge Capital. So please watch SpringX videos and please come to here if you have a chance. Right?
Yes,
so
thank you very much. So I would like to give a round of applause for the great contribution to today's program. Thank you very, very much.
I enjoyed this very much.
Right. So this is the end of today's ACIC program. As I said, we invited the distinguished guests from Singularity Salon, one of the communities here at Knowledge Capital, regularly host this kind of interesting and intriguing discussions here at Knowledge Capital. So ACIC continues in 2 weeks' time. So we're coming back from Thailand. So we are expecting coming up program is going to be the 13th of May. Well, actually, we have a golden week here in Japan, so it's going to be after the holiday. We're coming back on 13th of May, Friday, at 6 p.m. In Japanese time. The topic is the Isan Creative Festival 2022. So the North eastern region of the Thailand, there's the Isan, was originated for the second year or organized for the second year by Creative Economy Agency in Bangkok in Thailand between 25th of February and 6th of March. So it was until quite recent. With Khon as the main venue. So there will be the latest update from Creative Economy Agency regarding this interesting local creative festival. So please watch the program. It's going to be announced and also linked with the official website of Knowledge Capital, also English available. So I would like to close this session with the people in here in the venue, but also like you to visit the official Knowledge Capital's YouTube channel because just today, in parallel, we are starting the new series at SpringX, Chogakko Super School series about the climate change. So it's a huge controversial topic of the environmental issue globally. So we are closing down to the different topics covered in this SpringX series. So please stay tuned and open the link for the recommendation. So thank you again for watching the Asia Creative and Innovation channel today. I would like to wish you a great day and the rest of the day, and also the happy holidays in Japan as well. So thank you for watching again. Goodbye.